to be back in the good old Pacific Northwest.
Great outdoors, huh?
Yeah. Welcome home. I just wish I'd put pants on. We're back. All right. And of course, I didn't bring any coffee in here. Hang on a second. Whoops. Okay. My trip out east has come to an end. I have traveled full circle, made it home again. I am very, very happy to be home. I just kind of wanted final thoughts, if you will, on what happened out there and my time spent. And the other thing that I feel that it's very necessary to do in this video is to make my chair squeak for Andre. Okay? So, all of that done, the roads that we were all on, ran different courses. But everything sort of collided at that locus point of that toy store. I can say, and a whole bunch of other folks too, can say that they were there when that whole thing started. I've had a few moments like that in my life, and I'm gonna say that was one. And it sounds like I'm making a joke. Of all the moments in my life, that was one. But it really was one of those moments, one of those pinnacles of everything coming together perfectly. And nobody got hurt too much. Andre blew out his back for the whole weekend and played through. He summoned up all of the endorphins and everything else that was rolling through his brain that weekend and surpassed his physical limitations, because at one point I was looking at, and you can see this in some of the videos across the weekend, he's standing like a poorly stood up action figure. I wish I were joking about that, but at age 30-something aught that he is, I know his real age, I'm just not going to kick it out there any longer. He'll tell you if you ask. And then ask if he's getting booked in. No, I'm kidding, dude, I'm kidding. But get that registration fixed. This was a huge crescendo of like the chapter, if you will. A lot of things occurred. The first time I ever watched Andre and Nazar, they were shelf flipping. They were pushing each other around in the toy aisles at Target and Walmart. And I thought that there was no way that I could ever probably hang out with these guys. But maybe I'd try to get a hold of them and, maybe something would happen. And it has been this long, laugh-filled run towards the finish line of the first stage of Chapter 1, Subtext Part 2 of 1. Jet lag is still strong with this one. But while I was out of town, a whole bunch of stuff rolled in, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it and start with one thing that's behind me here. The book. I started to reread this this trip out to Andres, and I probably carved up a chapter or two a night. And John Carter was sort of, when I was reading action heroes in Marvel Comics and DC, Edgar Rice Burroughs was a writer that, if I was carrying that, teachers would not bother me about it because it wasn't a comic book. And I got minimal amounts of abuse for being a nerd reading those books back in the 70s. You know, it was kind of undercover superhero, gore-filled, sex-filled, really, really man-like stuff from the age of the pulps. If you look up all the stories and all of the books that Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote, it's like a roll of toilet paper. It just goes on and on. It's like a roll of Hello Kitty toilet paper. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. But in recent times here, with Whatnot, I have found a couple different things of the Edgar Rice Burroughs kind, and I wanted to show those to you. And I've got some other stuff. I've got some die-cast that I picked up out in Philly and New Jersey and different parts of South Jersey. So I am going to now run it down for you. All right, stick around. Some really interesting stuff. I genuinely think I just pooped my pants. Unfortunate. If I can't rearrange this to my... and the vacuum. Harv, or Axel, head on. In or out, Lou? Ah, that's better. Well, gotta remember to take that out later. Gotta remember to take that out. I'll remember to remove. Otherwise, I'm gonna be seriously embarrassed. Remember to take it out. Just kidding. I had the Burroughs book in the background here. We were talking about this, Princess of Mars. It has been made into a film series a couple times. It has been made by a budget group who did a really pretty good job, and you can watch that if you are in North America. You can access Tubi. It's a free app and it's on there. I would suggest that it's probably in everybody's hemisphere. It gets around. It's not a bad representation. It's done on a budget, and then you can see what Disney funded when they did a version of it, which didn't fare any better really in terms of making money. In fact, I'll bet the cheap one made the money back. Son of Tarzan. So I'm going to read through this pretty soon. These were how you got your teenage rocks off. You read about daring people doing daring deeds and coming across really fantastic cities in the jungle and being transported to other planets and lots of other stuff that kind of sounds mundane and silly now. Far be it from me to talk about anything silly. A lot of these books, if you want to, they've been transferred into right-free copies. So you can get them on like the Kindle Reader app, and you can just sort of read them all for free if you want to. Doesn't matter anymore. This is the world we live in, kids. Don't shoot the messenger. Just enjoy yourself while you're here. Jim Morrison said, I'm going to get my kicks before the whole shithouse goes up in flames, right?
Okay, Chief. All right, boss. All right, pal. Yeah.
But I did get The Lost Continent, Out of Time's Abyss. If you saw this cover as a kid like I did, you know, you'd be like, yeah, I'll waste some time reading that. A Superman, Adventures of Superman. This is the Fall of Metropolis. Fall of Metropolis? Yes, I have that right. And you can see there was a $1 price tag on it. So this was some Flotsam and Jetsam in somebody's collection, but now it's Flotsam and Jetsam in my collection. I don't have a lot of Superman. I miss you, Rusty. Dark X-Men. Again, another giveaway. That's a beautiful cover. I really dig that. I like a lot of Captain Marvel stuff. Next one, I got another giveaway, Web of the Scarlet Spider. And I know exactly, and it's part 1 of Cyber War. I know exactly where this needs to go. And as does he, because I've already contacted him to tell him it's coming. Nazar is a big Scarlet Spider fan, and I don't really collect a tremendous amount of Spider-Man. I kind of feel like collectibles, they belong with a certain person, and they kind of fall like a pachinko machine and land in the pockets that they need to land in for the moment. Titan Comics number 14, Conan the Barbarian. And I love the artwork. I can't wait to take a look at this. The old school logo. I paid for this. I saw it on Savage Caro and I bought it for $2. I paid $2 for this. Weaving back around to the beginning of my discussion here. Not so far as to go back to New Jersey. Nobody wants to go back to New Jersey.
I'll never get over Maple.
Baby, don't say a word. Gonna buy you a lot.
John Carter, one of my original and favorite pulp characters. He is a Confederate soldier who lands himself through time and space on Mars. And he is like one of the only Terrans there. The rest of the Martians are these sort of four-armed, two-legged, ant-looking creatures of sorts, very intelligent. And he finds that he has less, the same mass but different gravity, so he can jump significant distances and perform feats of strength. There's a lot of sword play and giant creatures, and it's a little like Flash Gordon, if you will, probably, the same sort of swashbuckling audience. Marvel Comics back in the day did a version of this character, and they did some of the stuff from the books. I've said this before, but in the 70s, gather around! In the 70s, if we wanted more of something, outside of fan magazines and outside of a novelization, usually by Alan Dean Foster, we didn't get, okay? There weren't prolific amounts of animated series and Netflix production upon Disney production upon everything else. If we wanted these characters, we had to rely on the artists at Marvel, DC, and the independents to do these books. So I've been trying to kind of clean up little holes in my collection, and I would love to get all of these someday. I did pick up a number 1 the other day of this series, but it's got, turns out, a giant hole in the cover, which explains why I probably paid the price that I did. But these were all in a bundle deal, so I got each for, I believe, $2 maybe. I'm going blind. Which is great for a comic book collector. A crossover Defenders issue where Dracula comes crashing through the ceiling. And I saw this come up on the old screen and just shudders of nerd delight. So I bought this and the issue which comes after it with that badass deviltry on the cover. At the time, heavy metal music was coming out and our mothers were all scared to death. Now I play that music for my grandsons, Iron Maiden killers, and they know the words. Speaking of Edgar Rice Burroughs, DC did their own run of books called Weird Worlds, which dealt with Tarzan plus an action story from John Carter. See, right there. I found a few of those being sold by a very wonderful seller called Gotham Thrift. So check out Gotham Thrift New York on Whatnot. These books were going through during a lightning sale or something like that, where they were putting up these like $5 price books, but they were $1, and bangity bingity bing, picked them all up. Also Tarzan. I mean, look at that. This is an amazing cover. Come on, he's battling gorillas. It's so cool. Then also the Saga of the Swamp Thing. This is issue 28, but it is the Moore run, I believe. Yeah, Alan Moore right there. Issue 28. Kind of nice. If you were watching my show before I left to go out east and do the whole Cryptid Toys thing and wintering in New Jersey, you saw that I actually managed to score one of the Starro issues, the one where the star is just like over Superman's face and he's screaming in pain. To me, it's almost cooler than this Brave and the Bold Justice League of America cover. This is a reprint. This is what's called a, Silver Age classic reprint. It is not worth nearly as much as the original. It's not worth nearly as much as the original comic book is, of course. But then I also don't mind taking this out of the bag, handling it. I found this other one, which I had to have, because it's got Commander Steel on the cover, of course. And I love just getting a hold of some Commander Steel. Yes. I want to voice the new character of Commander Steel. Here's a couple of issues from July 93. I know that because I printed it on the cover. Zatanna. If you're unfamiliar, this is a DC character, and she has magic abilities. So that's the demon on the cover there, and then issue number 2 of Zatanna as well. Finish up with a couple of here with the Uncanny X-Men Regenesis. I am unfamiliar with this line because I'm unfamiliar with most X-Men lines right now, or for the last 25 years, really, for that matter. It's another interesting comic book that got sent out by another seller. This one was thoughtful enough. Okay, moving right along, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that Andre sent me home with. You know, whenever I go out east, Andre's generosity whilst working on anything, whether it's the flea market stuff or trying to get the, oh, hi, babe. My granddaughter, everybody. She's probably sleeping and I'm being way too loud. Andre is always very generous when I go out to see him. And he ends up putting a lot of toys in my pocket. He ends up just saying, just take it. He knows the value of everything he's looking at. So believe me, he's not, you know, looking at a Black Lotus card and saying, nah, you know, I got 7, keep it. He is sending me home with some really funny stuff though. And one of those is this egg, which looks, I'm gonna change my positioning here so the lighting's better. It looks like an Easter egg. It's called a Transformer Bot. And it does transform from this egg into a little chicken guy, which I have a picture of. I'm not going to transform this one because it'll take way too long. I wanted to move along, so Nas was emptying out a bin, found this GT for me. He's like, I don't know if you have one of these, but I know you collect these, so take this home. And I said, sure, you know, drag it through TSA, it'll be fun. And he also brought me one of these, the 4-track, which are really kind of cool representations of the F1 design. And then they're also going to come out with the actual F1 team cars. This, I was really hoping that I would see some of the cases out in Jersey while we were shelf flipping and just kind of cruising through stores looking for stuff on the pegs and stuff. But another thing that Andre sent me home with that I said I wanted to pay for, and some of this stuff I did. I turned to VJ and I had him bring me into the till anyway, even though Andre wanted me to just take it. Over yonder, hanging above me right here is this is Nighthawk, and they kind of shit-canned the character. It was sort of a play on Batman, if you will. He was like a rich playboy guy, and he had a lot of money, and he developed this suit and stuff. It was an obnoxious character from the 70s. It was a total knockoff of some of DC's properties, and I loved it, you know? So, anyway, I had never seen the Marvel Universe figures before. That's what this is. It's a 4 3/4 inch scale, what they call Marvel Universe. So, and this cat came in as a friend of Nazar's. I'm afraid I forgot your name, but I could look it up in a video. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I'm starting to get lightheaded. Change in elevation. It's only about 185 feet here, and I don't know what it is in Jersey, but oxygen is definitely different. Moving right along, one of the other things that I found right before opening day, and I bought it, and I'm gonna keep it. I was gonna hang it up with the other Mothras that I've got, but I'm gonna keep it in the bag, man. This is a Mothra 3. The paint on it is still brilliant. Both of the little claw feet still rotate around on the bottom, and but I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna keep it in the Cryptid Toys and Games. This is a complete memento of my time working on the store, but I did I did pay for it. Andre's such a silly man. Very silly man. It's got a silly family. Oop, has a silly baby. And I don't mind saying that now that I'm on the other side of a screen and they can't punch me in my sleep. He said, baby's a bully. It is. She's a bully. All right. Another thing that walked through the door, a gentleman brought some of these in. These are not Shrunken comics. These are giveaways that were in baked or, well, junk food cakes of the time. I believe that I dated this back to about 2008 or so, maybe a little earlier in the 2000s. But there is a Hulk. There is an Amazing Spider-Man. There is a Jubilee and Spider-Man representation. I think is that McFarlane, maybe? I don't know. No, it says Gene Craig and, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, and there's, of course, the franchise I know very little about, the X-Men. Right? These little tiny comic books, probably to a collector in mint shape, and maybe if you had the whole entire run of them, I don't know how many there are, probably around somewhere in the $5 to $7 range for each one. Moving on to a little die cast that's still in package. One of the things I did while I was in New Jersey, and you can watch all of this stuff in sequence if you want to, because there's a playlist on my page. It just says Wintering in the Jerseys 2025, opening Cryptid Toys and Games. One of the times we were out shelf flipping, we find a ton of stuff. Some of it has been stuck to the floor for a significant amount of time. Other stuff relatively new. So it's still listed in, like, say, Target's books, but it says now it's on sale because they don't have any in stock. Of course, that sale price is pretty good. And to that end, I picked up this 76 Superbird with the Team Transport. I'm going to do an opening on this because I do want to get it out of the package and put it with some of my other Team Transports. But the paint and the deco on everything on this is just really neat. And it made me buy it against my better judgment, which is what you love about buying die cast. It's when it makes you feel absolutely stupid for buying it, stupid if you didn't buy it. I saw that Superbird, and I knew I had to at least pick it up and open it up, and maybe I'll regret it and sell it in a garage sale someday. Who knows? No, I won't. It's gonna be clutching it to my chest in my coffin. It's my wife's absolute nightmare. Anyway, the last thing I'm going to talk about here, I promise this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Just some comics that I did pick up, or not comics, excuse me, cards. See, this is what happens. My mind gets really moving, and then it just slams into the side of my skull. Kind of like getting hit by a linebacker, only there's just no physical concussion. It's just all like chemical at this point. But he had me working with a variety of cards out there at the shop. There are a ton of different ones there, and most of the time I had to spend working on the Pokemon cards, but there were a couple of cards that I helped to catalog and etc. that he said, just take them. There was a set of Batman cards there, and so this is a representation of that first issue. It's a trading card from 1989, maybe 1990 at least. So very little in the way of value. It's not a big deal. Again, he's really generous when he gives things away, because he knows that it means something to the person. It doesn't have to have a dollar value on it. It's that he was like, yeah, that resonates with you, obviously. Concept art for Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Let me try to get that a little sharper. As you see, that $2 price tag was put there by me whilst I was pricing out the collection. But I said, hey man, that's really, really cool. And of course, he said, put it in your pocket. Or maybe it was VJ who said, put it in your pocket. But anyway, I did. A Pupitar from one of the new sets. I think this is from Prismatic Evolutions. Andre found a Pupitar. And then I've got a bunch of digital cards, which I am going to go take over to my grandsons so that they can load this into their, I think that you put them into the app. I'm not sure. But anyway, I brought a bunch of those cards from the Prismatic Evolutions openings, guys. So I'll drop those off. And then a Larvitar, also from Prismatic Evolutions, I believe. And you can see down on the bottom, it's got that sort of prism finish to it on the bottom. If you're not impressed by Pokemon cards, I understand. I do. But I have been now brainwashed into the cult just a little bit to enjoy the various forms of the Tyranitar, which is what this card is right here. Nice. Okay. I believe that really is it? Could it be? Could it be the end? No, it's just the beginning. And I can say that I was there. And there are a lot of other folks who can say that they were there. A couple of shout outs to Andre's lifelong friend, Steve, who is turning into one of my favorite people on the planet. Big shout out to Brian Bender and his wife, who drove for a couple of hours to get to the opening. There's really no greater compliment you can pay to a place like Andre's shop than to travel to come see it. Okay, so thank you very much for making the opening so special. All of the folks who came in, the ribbon cutting, Charlotte walking around in the Snorlax costume, everything was just absolutely picture perfect. It couldn't have gone better. And we ended up shooting a bottle of champagne all over the sign in a very pornographic way late at night, with people driving by wondering if we were vandalizing the new store. I have a lot of stories to tell from the time that I was out there, and those will, I'm sure, slowly leak out in a very inappropriate place and way, but I will share them all with you. I would like to say again, thank you very much to Zara for finally making it out into a physical presence. Seeing you two back together as friends, as others have pointed out around us for the last couple of weeks. You know, it's nice to see you guys working together again on something. And it was super nice to be included in it. Myself, my whole family, my wife appreciates everything that you've done for my attitude. And, you know, she still calls you my girlfriend. Anyway, she's here, and I'm going to go spend time with her because I was out there for a couple of weeks. But in those couple of weeks, while observing my friends and my family on the East Coast and all of the folks around them, we really do have a very special circle of people. It feels great to be a part of, and I really appreciate anything and everything that has been done in my general direction. except for Dave. Dave the ghost. But that's another story. See you later, folks. Thank you, Andre, for helping me see what was really, really, really important yet again in my life, and allowing me to be there and to be able to say I was there when it happened. See you tomorrow, everybody. Bye. If you were watching one of my openings the other day, wait, I won't leave that in for a laugh. I won't leave that in for a laugh.